All right, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Spiritual Asshole. I'm so excited to be joined by Allura Halliwell. She's the founder of the Consciousness Method, mentor. She's writing a book and the host of the Consciousness Method podcast. Allura, how you doing?
I'm so good, Brandon. So excited to be here with you.
So, do you think with the name like Allura Halliwell, there was no way you were ever going to be an accountant?
Funny story. That's not my birth name. So I'm
Oh,
letting
okay.
you already in on my secret.
Uh-oh, I just busted. You just got busted.
So totally busted. I'm totally keen to like share that though because I was born under another name, and that name is Alana Holterman. So that was my birth name.
Okay, Alana Holterman sounds like an accountant. Okay.
That was my accountant name. And then I had a seriously radical awakening, and then I literally got told, change your name, change your name. I was like, okay, let's change it. And then I'm like, what do you want to change it to? And they're like, Allura. I'm like, no, that sounds like a porn star. I'm not interested. They're
Yeah.
like, nope, it has to be Allura. I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, we're definitely sure that is how it's going to roll. And Halliwell is actually my mother line. So that's my mother's name. So her surname. So that was like, yeah, we have to go through your mother line, not your ex-husband's line. And then we have to have a name that really is like going to reflect the frequency that you're now in after you had this awakening.
So that came after that experience that you were told to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I just feel like somebody with the name Laura Halliwell can't really ever be a plumber.
No, I tried, but I was like, this isn't, yeah, no, it's not going to work for me. Definitely not going to work.
I can't wait to get into yeah, so I was researching you. I can't wait to get in. Let's just let's talk about the experience you had. You had an experience where your consciousness left your body. Was this the first time that you saw the Jonas Brothers live in concert? They're amazing.
I wish they were there. They probably were in the field somewhere,
Yeah, just
like playing
watching,
for me,
just
like
bringing
watching,
it.
going, go for it. Um, yeah. So what's the question? They were there somewhere.
The question is, can we just back up to that morning, that event? So
Yeah.
at the time, you were not really into spirituality or self-help. Oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah, can you talk about this?
Yeah, because I was in survival mode. Like, I'm a mom, I've got three little kids. I was married. I was just doing my thing, trying to think about holidays, trying to think about meal prep, thinking about appointments, thinking about school runs. I was literally trying to survive. Like, I didn't really have time to read, let alone meditate or, kind of connect to myself. And at that point, I was like, why? Because I've just got to get through the day. So, friends invited me to a meditation retreat. And I was like, oh my God, holiday time. That sounds amazing. So I was like, packed my bags, headed off, and got there and actually just stepped into the space. I was like, oh, I can feel something. There's a different energy here. And went through the meditations. Like, it was a 5-day retreat. I think it was day 4, where we were all going down to the beach in the Sunshine Coast, Australia, and we're going to meditate on the beach. And my feet literally touched the sand. It was like 7 a.m., completely sober, nothing going on. And I was like, whoa, something's happening to me. And that was the moment where I was like drawn to the ground, and I could feel that my consciousness was like, and it was like a weird energy, right? It was like a weird kind of sensation because it was very, very involuntary. It wasn't like I was trying to do anything. But my consciousness started to kind of get momentum and move up my body. And then I actually felt my full consciousness move out of my head, out of
Wow.
my body. And I was like, I could see myself lying on the ground. I was like, oh my God, that's my body. Where am I going?
Yeah. No, so I was just telling you this, like I had a very similar experience, but on drugs. And and
No way.
normal way, once it happens to you, everything changes. So you came out, you basically were a new person.
Yeah, basically, I came out of my body. I went into the light, like a near-death experience. I merged with the void. I kind of lost consciousness a bit there because I was in the all. And when you're in the all of
Mm,
everything, you can't actually really see or know yourself because you're totally immersed in the essence of the whole of creation. So everything is there and you become nothing because you're everything. And then in that moment, I think I had a complete reboot of my system. So when I came back down into my body, I opened my eyes, I could see energy. So everything was like little tiny pearls of
Wow.
energy. Nothing was fixed. Everything was fluid. I began to see through kind of reality, I suppose, like the design of everything. But I looked in the mirror and I was like, I don't know who the fuck you are. Sorry.
No,
And
you're
I was
good.
like, I don't even know what we're doing here or why we're even here. Because out there was like really amazing. Like to be out of the body was incredible. To be back stuffed into a body felt so constricting, so overwhelming, so like disorientating. And it took me a couple of years, in all honesty, to like reorientate myself because my preferences changed, my
Mm.
personality changed, my whole energy changed, my whole life
Did you
imploded.
buy a bongo later or immediately?
No, I didn't really even want a bongo. I was like, I don't want anything. I just want to be back in the all with God, in source, like in consciousness. Like I was like, I don't even want to be here. This place sucks. That's what I felt.
God, that's so real and awesome that you said that. So this is really great. So how did you, because that's a really good point. Like, and I've had thoughts like that too. Once you peek, so you got to peek behind the veil. And I've been talking about this a lot. And once you see that, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, now I have to care about a fucking parking ticket. This sucks. So how did you navigate that coming back?
Yeah, that was huge. Like looking at the levels of bullshit density, like challenge that we live in as humans, and going, oh my God, we're actually full-blown divine beings connected to this infinite energy, infinite consciousness. How do I actually orientate myself into that? And funny question, I found it really hard to live for a while. So I got 10 parking tickets. No, actually, they was driving tickets. They were being on my phone in my car tickets. I probably shouldn't say this out loud. And I lost my license.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
great.
like, okay, fine. I'm not supposed to drive. I'm surrendered because I actually probably can't drive anyway because I feel
That's
like I'm
so
driving
good.
through the universe. And so I was like, the tickets. And then, like you have to reorientate. You have to work out where you are in space and time. So it took me a while to like come back into my body. And there was a lot of chaos around that to create a new version of me. But it was actually like the becoming of me because in every kind of step, I was working out how reality is structured. I was working out how my personality was like interfacing with the rest of my life. I was working out how I needed to actually, I don't like using the word heal because I think it really has bad connotations. It kind of sucks. Like people get confused about what that is. But I was actually looking to reorientate my whole being so I could live a human experience that felt fulfilling, loving, safe, and like somewhere I wanted to be. Like I was like, I need to make this place heaven on earth. If I'm stuck here, I don't want to live like I'm in a full like fracture where I want to get out. I want to live like this is a really cool place to be. And that's what I went on to like work through to kind of come into here and to realize that actually this is an amazing place to be. Like,
Right. Right. So, man, this is awesome. So, I think one of the hardest things in bridging that gap between experiencing these amazing things, whether you're doing psychedelics, meditation, when you have these breakthroughs and you come back, is how much of the old identity are you holding on to? How much of the old patterns are you holding on to? Did you find yourself then like just consistently letting go, or what did you actually do?
that was like the real work. That was like the sharpening of the knife because I was holding myself so in account, so intensely to my values that I developed when I was out of my body, which is like, I need to actually purify this vessel, like my being, to be in alignment with my truth. So it was like, where is all my bullshit? Where am I running programs of illusion? Where am I misinterpreting? Where am I creating chaos? Where am I creating separation? I had to get really honest with that and come up close and personal to my identity that was coded in my nervous system, that was running the show, that was reactive, that was in these illusions about what this was. And I had to pick all of those out and be like, what is the truth beneath this? And that's like a lot of where I was like, this is really tough work because you have to look at how you're actually showing up in reality, not this impression of you being some version of yourself. Like,
Mm.
how are you really? Where is your integrity? Where are your values? What are you consuming? What are you doing in your like spare time? Where are your thoughts going? And that was like, it was almost like I couldn't escape this ongoing kind of reflection because I was like, I can't sit knowing this angelic, connected, whole space, loving space. I can't sit in being not in alignment with that. So there was like a lot of like reflection, a lot of like grieving, like a lot of like emotional release to try and process all that. Like that was just like the beginning point. This was like the rest of it was the real journey, to be honest.
So then you just decided just to give up your kids.
They probably felt that. They were like, oh my God, where's mum? Mum was like one version and she came back like an alien and she just wanted to meditate 6 hours a day. And I literally couldn't cook anymore. I didn't know how to cook. So I was like, hey guys, what do you want for dinner? And I'd like put things in the oven from the
Yeah.
freezer because I didn't know how to cook because my personality had completely like shifted and my memory of the human things I knew how to do wasn't there. So the poor things, they were like, oh my God, mum's burnt the dinner again. Like, where is the mum that used to cook gourmet organic meals? Can we have her back, please? So that was a journey, right? Like my kids and I are like totally so tight because we've had to go through that. And part of the reorientation was like, I have to make sure you guys are okay because there was a level of abandonment in that, right? Like I left, the version of me exited the building, and we went through a couple of years of reorientation. And then the last like 5 years, I've been holding them and loving them through that experience because that's like one of the core fractures that can create havoc in a kid's life, right? If it's not
Right.
fully processed. So I just sit with them in that pain. And that was part of the reorientation, right? Like you can't leave collateral damage. You can't just like have these awakenings and then not like create the ripple effect of what you come into to understand and know. Like it has to be loving everywhere. It's even loving with my ex-husband. Like,
Wow.
like he's like moved on. He's got a beautiful new partner. He made all his money after we broke up. It was like he's just, and I've been loving and supporting him to go forward because it was like post-traumatic stress disorder. Like your wife gets on, a plane, goes to a retreat, comes back like an alien, and you're like, what the fuck? And the whole thing implodes. So it was like loving and supporting him through it as well as myself to like understand that we weren't evolving on the same trajectory anymore. I was like on a rocket and he was still on on the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
But
So it's like, yeah.
yeah. I choose to see this all as very positive. I mean, 30 years ago, some dads would leave to go get cigarettes and never come back. Look at
Yeah.
us. Look at how far we've come. Look at this
Yeah.
conversation. We're growing, man. I think
So,
that
so evolved.
we're in a really good place. But I think what you said is often overlooked. And I had a conversation with my friend who's a psychedelic therapist recently about this, that these awakenings actually aren't necessarily guaranteed to be good for you as a human in this world, as a productive person. Because like a lot of times you're like, wait, why are we paying rent? We don't need to do this. I just talk to God. God's like, you're good. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I don't have to pay rent. But I want to talk about specific things you did, and this will start looping back in. And I hope everybody who's listening, this is not just about like psychedelics. Like we're all dealing with this separation thing. We're all dealing with, our nervous systems going fucking haywire or throwing us in survival. It's like one of my favorite topics of discussion, which is why I love having you on. So like, what did you actually do? You talked about plucking. What was the plucking?
It was like pulling out the strands of kind of the dysfunction, the instability, the lack of trust in myself in reality. And it was actually beginning to process that internally. And that's where I really found some of the core aspects of our humanity, one of which is what I call the pain portal. So we're all literally walking around with stored deposits of pain in our cellular body, in our nervous
Hmm.
system. Like if I say to you, like feel into the space where you have deep abandonment, like you can, like if you dropped in, you could feel in your body where you have like some kind of pang. Like there's a pang in every human's body, or where you feel deeply unworthy, or where you feel like you're just not ever really truly understood, or some of those deep, like visceral kind of core human woundings. You can feel that in your body, right? So that pain that's like lodged in your body from those repeated experiences that kind of compound on each other, where we keep witnessing reality as, not loving us, not honoring us, not hearing us, not seeing us, that all gets stored in the body. And then we have our nervous system going, fuck, I need to survive this pain that's in my body. What do I need to do to kind of make it okay for me out there? Whilst the internal body is like actually like it's trapped in this space. So I began to work really consciously with my pain, not as suffering, not as looping, but actually what happens if you flip the script and you go through your portal of pain in your body as an awakener, like as a liberator. So you
Mm,
open up the space that has the density in your body, and you actually get really safe to feel the sensation. Because the only thing every human fears is their own pain.
yeah.
Every human fears their own pain. You think about the thing that you fear most in your life, you just don't want to experience the pain attached to that.
Mm.
So if we flip that and we actually get safe to feel our pain, it's like, oh my goodness, we're so liberated from that fear. And then we're not boxing ourselves into these really set ways of being.
Right.
That
So,
portal for me was massive.
right. So you would actually just sit with it sort of and allow it to process.
Sorry, you just cut up for a second, Brendan.
Oh,
Can
no,
you just
no.
repeat?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I said, you would sit with that pain and allow it to process.
Yeah, I would be very like, it wouldn't even be just sitting with, because that was a little bit passive. It would literally be excavating and going through the sensation and like opening it up. So I would apply more and more consciousness to that pain. So it actually gets bigger. Because what happens when we store pain in our body, it gets like trapped and suppressed, and our consciousness gets trapped in that. So we literally need to apply more consciousness and more attention to expand that pain through our bodies till it gets to a threshold where it feels safe to release.
Okay.
So we're not just like passively going, oh, I'm just going to sit with my pain. You're actively diving into the place you least want to go. And
Okay.
when you do that, it's like you're unlocking levels of reality. And when I work with people in this, they're like, please, Allura, I need to find more pain, because every time I find my pain, every time I travel through that portal, something liberates in my consciousness and in my body. And then I flip into a new level of reality,
Mm,
because reality is designed in reflection to us as portals.
of course. Yes. I totally believe that. So let's do like a practical example. Let's throw out a couple things. Someone's in a really toxic relationship again. Okay. Or someone's struggling financially again. What you would have them say, like, trace the feeling of what does that feel like?
Yeah. So in your body, say, let's do the one where like you're in a toxic relationship.
Great.
So
Not
there's going
me.
to be,
I'm so happy.
no, you're obviously in a really good, high quality relationship. I can see that about you.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, good.
I'm not in a relationship, but
I
I
know.
have a really,
I
what?
can tell.
God, how? Why? How can you tell?
I don't know. It's just a vibe.
Fuck, that's not the vibe I want to put out. I put on a nice shirt today. I'm trying to put out a cool vibe. All right. We'll revisit this later.
Okay. So for example, if you're running the program of fear around a connected, loving relationship, so you're continuing to experience a toxic relationship because that's the program that actually connects mostly into that pain. Instead of continuing to do that physically in the reality, what I would say is we need to flip and we need to find beneath the fear of losing that toxic relationship, you're going to find a deep level of internal stored pain, which is most likely going to have a fractal connection all the way back to when you first stop trusting in love, when you first stopped trusting that you were cared for, that you were respected, that you were honored, that you were deeply loved for who you are. That pain is a portal all the way back to that very, very core fracture, I call it. And that core fracture happens in our physical lifetime. But for me, what I understand is that core fracture initiates when we split from source consciousness to come into a body. So the
Yeah.
first abandonment is from source. The first sense of being unworthy or defective is when we come out of being a divine being into a human body. The first space of actually not knowing who we are comes when we come from source into like this confusion of what are we doing here? That's the beginning fracture. And then we accumulate fractures in our physical body from our human experience. And then we begin to develop these templates that we're defective, unlovable, unworthy, not understood on some way. And we gather the evidence, but we're also participating in that timeline.
Yeah.
So we,
And
yeah,
no, go ahead, go ahead.
here you go.
I said, and not only are we participating in it, we think it's the only reality. And that is the number one talk about a brainwashing.
Yeah,
The number one brainwashing that human beings are experiencing is thinking that your current reality is the reality. And when you do stuff like what you work with you or you whatever you want to do to journey into this world to unveil things, you start to see everything around you changes, which means there was never a reality in the first place,
100%.
which is crazy.
There's multiple infinite potential realities, but we get
Yeah,
stuck in the one that I've seen aligns to our pain and our nervous system that protects our pain. So when you process your pain, you're releasing the consciousness that got stored in that pain that was like, I'm not a lovable kid. That then means I'm going to be accepting toxic relationships. And
mm,
when you actually decode that pain and go, actually, that pain connects you to the source of you. So there's a full reuniting experience that happens when your pain becomes a connector. You actually connect to more versions of you, more parts of you, the source of you. Because if you think about it, like we split from source to come into this physical reality and experience that pain. If
yeah,
we reverse engineer and we come back through that pain into source, but we do it while we're in a physical body, this becomes source internally, then we're projecting a reality of source all around us, like a connected reality, a whole reality, a potential based reality. So it's like
mm,
an energetic movement. It's a deeper movement than like just your thoughts or just your nervous system. It's like
yeah,
a deep movement back home within, because that's why we're here to have heaven on earth, right? Like that's what we're
right.
here to experience.
Yeah, and hopefully this is how you stopped getting parking tickets.
Yeah, I don't get them
See,
anymore.
this is how guys, this work works. That's all we need to know. All right, so when you go back and do this, when you do this method, by the way, is this the consciousness method that you talk about?
Yeah, it's the connection to the consciousness. I couldn't think of a better name. I was like, this is consciousness.
I like
So this
it.
is the aspect. There's like, yeah, there's multiple steps, but this is one of the processes that we work with. Yeah.
So when you go back and do this, do you feel like you have to revisit that pain often? How long does it take? Like, what's the vibes?
Yeah, because it's like we don't want to be like continually re-traumatizing. So when you
Yeah,
actually touch the truth of the pain portal, you actually unleash the stored consciousness that's stored in the density of your pain. So your whole perception of what that pain was gets completely revisioned. Like you get to see it from another a vision,
yeah,
another vantage point, right? So then that means that you're no longer needing to like in the present keep projecting that and keep creating the circumstances that actually just give you access to your pain. It's the reason why we stay stuck in these loops, not because we like want to like, make our lives hard. It's because these loops keep activating the pain. So if you can actually take the pain and work with it to come back here and expand that consciousness, you don't need to keep projecting the same reality where you have to loop on the same stuff all the time. And then your consciousness shifts, and then you're like, oh, there's actually another way. I don't have to stay stuck with this person that actually doesn't have, my interests at heart because I have my interests at heart. And then we begin to like move realities. And it's a liberation, right? Because we're
Oh
here to be
yeah.
liberated and free, not stuck in this
Right.
stuff.
I still kind of want to go back to being an alien, but yeah. So what do you think what do you th yeah, I mean it's super fun. What do you think is tripping people up the most? Is not realizing it's a nervous system issue, or what do you think?
Um, I think the understanding of us as humans and understanding how we've actually created the reality around us is missing. Like we don't really get that point. Like we learn how to kind of heal, and everyone's like looking how to heal themselves. And then we're kind of like, oh, your thoughts create your reality, and like change your nervous system, like really like make that nervous system like come under control like an animal. And I'm like, no, let's not do that. Let's
Oh.
actually just crack your nervous system wide open to stretch beyond the limitations of who you think you are. I don't want to be like placating the nervous system and going, look, you just stay in a box and soothe and be regulated. That's just like a bypass for me. That's like, why would you want to regulate something that's totally dysregulated and not safe? Why don't we stretch it? Why don't we
Yeah.
stretch that thing and find safety in the at the threshold of where you think reality is unsafe? So if you go beyond the point of your nervous system where your nervous system's telling you a lie that you can only stay trapped in this limited box, what if we go beyond that? What happens on the other side of breaking down that breaking open that nervous system, stretching it beyond what you think is possible? And that nervous system stretch is massive to realign reality as well.
100%. And I love that. Is that stretching? Is that the going in like you mentioned? Is it taking risks? Is it
That's like identifying where in your reality you hit your threshold and going into the place where you think you'll be unsafe. So like say for example you're in that toxic relationship, it's like what do I do? It like what happens on the other side of me standing up and saying enough.
yeah.
I don't want you to go there anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. Because there'll be fear there that you won't be loved if you stand up for yourself. But that's the illusion that keeps you in that unloved wounding. So it's like, no, where is the strength to like expand the nervous system and go, this is not okay for me anymore. So
Hmm.
often what I get people to do is identify in their reality where they're looping on a very small spectrum of existence. And I get people to do the opposite of what they would do. I was working with a beautiful woman the other day and she's like, I've got to my third date. I just feel like physically, like this guy is not attractive enough. He treats me like a queen. He buys me flowers. He honors everything I do. He's being attentive. He's answered every message. He seems totally loyal. Great job. Feels amazing. I've got the ick. And I was like, you're going on that date and you are going to stretch your nervous system beyond this illusion of attractiveness that's keeping you trapped in your unloved wound.
Ah, so I have to stop you there because I think what people don't realize, and I have to credit Joe Dispenza so much for this, that your mind and your nervous system will send you unlimited lies disguised as what you think is truth to not get you to step past that unknown place. So,
100%.
I mean, unless this guy was a hardcore uggo, in which case I support her.
They're pretty much like gonna get married. She's like,
Really?
oh my God, I cannot believe that I had that resistance because she was running a program
Yes.
of fear, right? There was nothing in her reality that was saying that was her nervous system going, don't go there because you're just about to get deeply committed into this relationship and you're gonna probably end up falling in love with this guy. So your patterning was going, no, I don't want to do that. I
Yeah.
want to stay away from that. So it's like stretching through that threshold.
This is like man, this is everything though, and I hope people realize that. Like, it's like the boxes that we just put ourselves in.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And like, all respect to Joe, love his work.
Uh-oh, here we go. Drop it. Drop it. Drop it. You already said that I look
But
single. Let's go.
he's like, let's elevate. Let's go beyond. Let's like create the vision that's the positive and like step into your future in that. And I'm like, no, I call BS on that. Let's go the other way. let's go in and release where you're actually trapped into that reality. Because I've seen people, I've worked with people that have done Joe's work. They've held the positive vision. They've like wanted to step in, but there's something like an elastic band that keeps pulling them back into their predictable reality, no matter how hard they try to vision that new reality. Because actually visioning the reality and working innately with the nervous system, the physicality, and going into the truth of what exists. Like if you're sitting there in huge, tremendous amounts of pain and you're like, I just need to vision my reality and I'm going to step into that, you can only like do that for so long until the body goes, hold on a minute. I'm actually holding something that needs full conscious awareness that you do not need to fear. And once you see that, you liberate yourself automatically instead of being like, I want to project into something positive. And I'm not saying all of Joe's work's about that, but that part, I'm like, because I went and I tried that, right? I got back in my body. I was like, let me just try to vision my positive reality and like step into my future. And I'm like, I can't do that. My nervous system is on fire. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's something not right here. And I felt like I was doing the work wrong. I wasn't committed enough. And I was like, actually, no, I'm looking in the wrong place. I need to look over here. And when I looked there, I was like, oh my God, this is the key to liberation that's in my body.
So you were able to do that all by yourself. You didn't have a coach. You didn't have the guy giving you another traffic ticket. You did this all yourself.
I tried to find someone to help me. I was like, I'm like off my head. Can someone please help me? And I had a massive Kundalini awakening, so I'm vibrating constantly. Like
Yeah.
my like I couldn't physically ground myself. I'm like people are like go stand on grass, like eat curry, like go and like sit in the sun and you'll be okay. I'm like I am not okay. There's something not okay here. So it was like it was me and consciousness going, you know what, we've got to work this out. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it back. I'll end up in a psych ward because it's too intense, right? So I didn't because I made it back and I worked it out, but it was like nothing was able to really anchor me into coming home. And that's this intersection point for me. It's like, where as a human do we interface with reality? And what are the mechanisms that hold us stuck in separation, in wounding, and in like a state of disconnection? What
Yeah.
are what are those things, and where do we go through them? It's not internal or external, it's the middle ground.
Okay, so this is a question I have to ask then because I guess my only, it's not a concern, it's just something I want to ask you is like, I totally believe what you're saying. I think I'm sure it works. But then there's that part of me that's like, I've done a lot of that. And I'm concerned that if I continue, if things in my life don't continue to align the way I want to, I'll just keep always trying to go back to change things. And maybe there's a time to just go forward too. So what's the difference?
So now is the only place you can ever be. So the
Yeah.
portal is now, right? Like, so it's not about going back. You automatically go back because it's all interconnected. You go back and forward at the same time. So I'm
Okay.
speaking going back, but you're in the all of everything. You're going in and
Yeah.
through here. So you don't actually have to go and, as I said, re-traumatize and bring up all that trauma because the pain you're holding right now is exactly the same pain as when you were 2, 7, 14, 21, however old you are now. Like going through
22. Yeah.
22. Yeah. Going through that pain, it's actually processing right here, right now. And that's the multidimensional aspect of this. You're not having to go back and revisit that trauma because you don't need to. The pain is here as a portal right now. It will connect all that together. But if you process it now, as opposed to like, you don't need to go back to every trauma along the way. It's actually the pain holds all the trauma in one go.
So, okay, but do you feel like when you go back, you see certain memories that cause the pain? Does that happen?
Yeah, but you see that as part of the supporting, okay, the pain is real. The story you tell around the pain is the illusion.
Yeah.
I ran the story my whole life that my dad didn't love me. He was like
Right.
a very high functioning GP, highly depressive, undiagnosed,
What's GP?
a general practitioner, a doctor
Oh,
in
okay.
Australia. Yeah, so very high functioning, very like, provided everything. But because he didn't give me emotional attention when I was a child, I just went default, he does not love me. So when I would sit in the unloved wound as an adult and go, I'm not loved, that organically is all connected. And you can see all those versions of you through space and time that are in that illusion. But when you transform the pain now and you realize, actually, I'm deeply loved, I went back and looked at that from another vision. I was like, oh my God, my dad loved me more than anything. He
Mm,
just could not emotionally connect with me, but the love was like there in
yeah.
that, right? And it was the interpretation from my wounding that made me separate from that. But then that changes everything now because oh my God, if my dad loved me and I just couldn't feel it, can this person love me? Can that person love me? Can I love myself? Even if I can't,
Mm.
yeah, if, I can't necessarily see the angle of that immediately. Can I find that angle that brings that?
Yeah, it's like there's a million versions of you standing on a timeline and they all get switched.
Yeah,
And like if you ripple it all the way back, it just comes crashing through to now.
it's right now. Yeah, it's so now.
Okay, so how long do you think it took you after this awakening? I know I don't want to put time on it, but like that you started experiencing it, what changed personally in your life?
Like, how long until I started to feel human again?
Yeah, or just like I guess integrated where you're like, okay,
Yeah, integrated. Realistically, I think it probably took me 3 years, but
yeah.
I found out yesterday that with kind of a near-death experience, which I'm kind of on the fence about what happened to me, but I heard someone say it's like 7 years. So it'll be 7 years in October. And I feel like I'm pretty integrated now. After about 3 years, I started like everything that I was seeing and learning, I started to like invite others to be involved and like check whether what I was experiencing worked for other people. So it's like being about 4 years where I've been working with others through these processes. And that's why I've got the Consciousness Method podcast because people can like hear all this, but it's like, well, how does that actually work in reality?
Yeah.
So like it's basically just interviews with the people that have done this work that have had life-changing shifts because they've changed their vision of what our human experience is. So, and like that's just it's not like to convince anyone or tell anyone, like this is the way because it's not. Like there's so many ways and pathways to you creating the experience you want to have. This is just one download that's like got to be here for humanity because I don't even know why I would go through that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to become a coach and I'm going to be, I'm going to
Yeah.
like go out and help people. It's like, I don't have a choice. It's like pumping through me. It's like, you just have to have this message here for whoever feels resonant. Like, it's not like
I love
there's
it.
no convincing in that.
No, I think that makes tons of sense. So you said there are three core wounds of humanity, people feeling unloved, unworthy, and unknown. And then the Catholic Church said, "You're welcome." When I literally saw you say that or I read that somewhere, I was like, it didn't even like I was like, "Oh, Catholicism, this is what they teach." I ironically immediately
Very
thought that.
odd.
I was like, "Oh, wow, did she
Yeah.
pull this from the Catholic Church book?" Oh, it's very cool. But so you think that I do think that core wound of feeling unworthy seems to be most of us feel that way. So
Yeah.
not why does it happen? Why do we feel that way? I think it's kind of, but is this the path you think to addressing that, doing this kind of work?
I just think the realization that like a lot of people that, I meet and most of humanity go, there's something inherently defective or wrong with me. Like
Yes, yeah.
I understand that I should be worthy, but I don't feel that in my reality, or I understand that I should be loved, like I self-love, but I don't feel it. And I understand I should be kind of understood and safe, but I don't really feel that either. So the kind of it's not so much about the wounding so much as the understanding that these wounds are actually just core separation patterns that take us out of ourselves into the physical reality. And they're just actually imprints that humanity is kind of being slurped into that creates a structure around our human experience. And that's what they are. And they're energetic patterns of self-separation,
Yeah.
of abandonment, of not choosing self, of not honoring self, because we want to get an energetic experience of the external reality validating us, loving us, understanding us. But what we don't realize is the energy we're trying to pull in from outside of us to make us feel those loved, worth, knowing things. It's like a different voltage. Like you won't ever get enough validation that will make your unworthiness feel at peace.
Mm,
Because unless you actually create that internal template of being deeply worthy within, doesn't matter what comes in. And this is where we get confused. Like for those in the unloved wound, it does not matter what relationship you have, unless you innately know that you are the source of love, you will never ever feel the completion. You'll always be in that gray zone, right?
mm.
So it's not about being like, oh, we're all wounded and messed up. It's like this is actually a design pattern we all have to be conscious of.
Right.
And then when we're conscious, it's like we don't need to play in that in the same ways.
I guess what do you see your clients who have big shifts? What do you see them do that causes those shifts to happen?
Yeah. Such a multi-dimensional process. Like it's big, right? Because we're complex. It's not just like there's not like a magic pill or like a
Yeah.
but it's like one, they realize that they're not inherently defective and that this is a pattern they can consciously work with, so they don't have to feel like a victim to reality. As soon as you step out of feeling like a victim to reality, you're already in the driver's seat of being the creator. Two, they realize that every second they spend in self-process, in heightening their consciousness internally, they will always get another version of reality that corresponds to their shift in consciousness, that
Mm,
comes from a corresponding shift of their nervous system, their pain, their automatic responses, and that will always shift reality. The third thing is probably they realize they're multidimensional. So you can go and work with the past and bring it right now, and you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go into the past. You can just work with what's alive with you right now. And that's super empowering because you're like, I don't need to get dragged down with all my trauma. I can process here what's alive in my body this second. And that's like liberating. Um, a lot of people realize that they've been running illusion programs, like they've been
yeah.
running these like lies about what reality is for them. It's like when you step into a truth, because you're actually actively challenging, you're stretching your nervous system beyond that confine, and you're going, you know what is actually safe here? My
Mm.
illusion is like different to what is the truth. Um, and then they realize that you're not alone. You're not alone in doing this work. So it's like, and there's more, but it's like it's a multi-layered, holistic process because you can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to do this one thing and feel better. It doesn't like we're very complex as humans. And I found that with the work I do. So it's like you need to reach in and process on so many kind of layers, but it's not like an overarching
Yeah.
pressure. It's actually quite fun. Like people that do this work are like, oh my God, this is happening in my reality. I'm just gonna zip in and just work on that and then just shift timelines. And it just is like, wow, that's kind of fun and cool.
They see
Especially
it
if
as a
you,
game. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a game. Like if you love doing that kind of self-awareness stuff, like and that's more the spiritual thing. It's like for me, it's reality work. It's not spiritual work. It's like how you're working with your reality.
You didn't say cold plunges.
Oh my God. Let's throw in a cold plunge. Let's just really get that going. I did go. I actually I had a boyfriend and he was all about the cold plunge and the breath work, and I gave that a red hot go, and I was like,
Too much work.
too much work.
If cold plunges are so good for your nervous system, why do polar bears still kill people? That's a
Yeah,
pretty, let's talk about it.
they want to
Let's,
be warm and happy. They don't want to be so cold. It makes you angry.
it actually makes you angry. Yeah, I think the one thing that you just said, the number one thing that like flagged in my head is thinking that you're a victim of reality, because that can be a program.
That's a massive
That's
program.
like one of the biggest programs is that you have no control over this and you're on autopilot. And that's the scariest program to me is the
100.
autopilot is like the Oh, my default is for me to think that there's no hope. That's fucking crazy.
That's the heart, like, that's heartbreaking for me. Like, that's the most heartbreaking one because it's like, oh my God, like, why are we here if we're going to feel like we're trapped in on some level of our being?
So what
Like,
would
we're
you
not.
say to people that feel that way? Not me, I'm perfect. Just other people.
Well, there are other friends out there.
Yeah. I've never felt that way in my life.
No,
Just,
I can
if
tell.
you could just please say something. Please make this okay.
Something helpful,
Please say something
something
good.
soothing.
Say something good here.
Yeah, like I mean, it's legit that we are the creator. Like I know people like spin this shit off and they go, "Oh, we're the creator of our realities." We actually are really, truly, and deeply in relationship to the projection of everything around us. And it's almost like you can just play with this on a really small level. Like you don't even have to go so big with it. You can just be like, what would happen today if I actually felt huge levels of universal support in every cell of me, in every moment for me, that everything I looked at was actually supporting me, even if I couldn't see it in in that exact moment.
Yeah.
What if my like vision of that, I could feel that something was supporting me? And your timeline through that day is going to shift from the shift of your consciousness that you're just going to be looking to see how supportive everything is around you. And that's just like a simple
That's
reality
good.
creation exercise to go, whoa, if I can shift just that and see support coming in, even in the smallest ways, then it's like, what else can I shift internally that's going to free up more space for me to be the creator? Because when you're the creator, you're actually not manifesting. You're not actually in desire. You're not actually wanting the
Yeah.
yacht, the partner, the blah, 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 even though all those things are beautiful and fun and nice. You're actually just wanting deep levels of inner peace, connectivity, and like to go beyond that separation so you feel at home here. Like that's what everyone is wanting to feel. And then the
Yeah.
byproduct of those things.
Have you heard the term conscious? I think it's called conscious awareness,
Yeah.
unconscious awareness, something like that, where you just merge into that. Okay, I have to ask you this, and then we'll wrap up. To go back to my waking up feeling hopeless example. Okay, but I want to know what you think about this because also it's not like it happens to me all the time, but what I have also found that like laying in my bed and sitting in that, it only gets worse. And if I just stand up, I'm like, oh, I'm good now. So how much of that is just neural pathways, your nervous system, or habits, right? Like if I put on a pair of Lululemon pants I have, my day's over because they're so comfortable and I'm not going to do jack shit. So sometimes I'm like wondering in this spiritual world and interpretations, can sometimes it just be your environment and your context and your choices?
100%. That's why I work a lot with addiction, which is not addiction to substances or things. It's addiction to the familiar thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of your
Yes.
reality that create a known construct that keep you feeling an illusion of safety. Because it's like, oh, it's so safe to stay in this like confine of myself. But there's
Yes.
addiction because the nervous system's like, if I keep doing this thing, I don't have to deal with the core existential pain or emotional pain that's lying below here. It's like,
Uh, fuck.
yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, it's like if I just turn on Netflix and like numb out, then I don't have to deal with the fact that I'm feeling deeply like not in my purpose or deeply disconnected or deeply lonely or deeply overwhelmed. I just get to numb out. That's the behavior of the addiction. Excuse me. So like when you get turn that all off, like get that addiction mode clear. And addiction can be just looking at your phone. It can be like
Yeah.
calling a certain person that validates your pain. It can be like not getting up in the morning because you want to sleep in. And like it doesn't have to be like a physical addiction. It can just be a pattern of repetitive behavior. If you just can stretch your nervous system enough to not participate in that and go into the pain that lies below that, that's where you're going to start to unfurl the consciousness that's separating you from reality. That's where you get the connectivity in that. And that connectivity then creates another version for you.
Mm. How happy are you now, would you say?
Wow, it's such a good question. That it's like it's kind of beyond happiness. It feels like contentment.
Yeah.
I feel like a little bit boring to say, but I feel like a more of a neutrality around like this just a joy of being alive and of being human. And it's kind of like just is like an expansion that just happens in a breath. It's not like, oh, I'm so happy, I'm so so like it's like almost
Yeah.
like I feel safe to be here. I feel like intrinsically loved, like just by life. I feel like I'm actually worthy to be on this planet and be in my truth of who I am. And I feel like I'm understanding myself and have this connection that means that I feel known from that. So it's like everything else is like can come and go, right? Like things will come and go, challenges will come and go, relationships will come and go, the transient nature, it's all here, it's all happening around us. But
Yeah.
that external thing, it's like just like a kind of a hum, like a constant hum. So I wouldn't say like I'm radically happy and I'm not sad. I'm just in this beautiful kind of connected space, I think.
Yeah, but what if that is the space?
I feel like that is.
Yeah, like what if that's the space? All right, well, this has been absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna play a quick rapid fire game with you where I say some things. It's called spiritual or asshole, and you tell me if it's spiritual or asshole. Are you down?
I'm so down.
Okay, spiritual or asshole. Thinking you entered the void, but then when you wake up, it's just Las Vegas.
Totally spiritual.
Great. Spiritual or asshole. Healing your core wounding by playing a recording of your mom apologizing on repeat.
Asshole.
Wow. Spiritual or asshole. A modality called the unconscious method where you just drink beers and throw cheeseburgers at children.
Totally spiritual.
Spiritual or asshole. Thinking the reason why things are happening to you is because of astrology.
Oh, asshole for me, for sure.
Wow.
Don't,
Spirit,
yeah.
I won't tell anyone. Spiritual or asshole, trying to manifest so you have the same nervous system as a dog. That feels great.
Feels totally spiritual.
I want my dog's nervous system. All right, last question I ask everybody. If you could tell people one thing to tell themselves all day long, what would it be?
I'm so connected.
Wow, no one said that. And 200 guests. That's a new one.
Woo.
Congrats. All right, this is great. You want
Thanks,
to tell everybody where
Alana.
they can find you?
Allura Halliwell. You know my name.
Well, we talked about it.
Across the board, all the things. Allura Halliwell, the .com, at all the places.
All the place org. Okay, great.
Or come and find me. Like honestly, like it's, we're here to journey together.
I
So I'd
love
love to.
it. This was great. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you, Brendan.